Hello, everyone. We welcome you again to the new session for the new Wednesday of the Let Us Talk It Zipinar. We call it Zipinar as we try to zip in.
Phil, sorry to interrupt. It's not live, I guess. Lakshmikant, are you sure it's live?
Um,
It's not live on YouTube.
yes, it is.
Okay. Okay, it's live now. Yeah, you can continue.
Alrighty. All right, perfect. Thank you so much for the assistance. And we do appreciate your understanding with regards to the technical issues. And definitely, again, we call it Zipinar as we try to zip in to very wonderful topics in just 1 hour. Like, because 1 hour is too much for one topic. And for every person that we are busy right now, especially after pandemic. So we had a lot of times to cope up in work and all the things that we need to do outside. So definitely, if you have time that you have joined in today, we really thank you for your time. And we are live via Facebook and YouTube as well. And please do join our live session if you are available. And if you, in case you missed this live session, you can definitely review it in our YouTube channel. And we have two new topics today for the new Wednesday, and we have two new wonderful and lovely speakers that we have today. And for the first topic that we have is that it's saying pandemic is not over, and that's psychologically. So even after the official announcement of the end of the pandemic, the fallouts are still lurking as danger to humankind. The most prominent and validated peril is to mental well-being, which I definitely agree. And this topic will be discussed and delivered to us by Dr. Diksha Sharma, which is a postdoctoral fellow at Cornell University, New York, in United States. And she is in the Department of Human Development, and she has a PhD research which is based on emotional intelligence. At present, she is building a new emotional intelligence model with well-being indicators and developing a new game. So Dr. Sharma is 4 times TEDx speakers already, advocating for mental health, and her recent initiative is the podcast Student of the World for creating students' well-being. She's an author of the upcoming book Recycle Emotion, which is really fascinating just by the title itself. But without further ado, let's give it to Dr. Diksha Sharma for the first topic.
Thank you so much, Anthony, for such a crisp and amazing intro of mine. Thank you so much for that, and I thank your whole team to be there to help us all with all the technical issues. So thank you, team. Kudos to you. And this is a great initiative. Let us talk it. And thank you so much for inviting me here and talking about such a sensitive topic where we think, as a topic suggests, that pandemic is not yet over psychologically. So we are at a verge of the end of the pandemic in the history of humankind. And of course, it's a great victory in terms of science. We are celebrating it, and with respect to the theory of evolution. So it's really nice where we are as a human civilization. But having said that, pandemic had collateral damage, and that collateral damage was the issues of not able to understand what's happening around the mental well-being. And having said that, pre-pandemic, there were issues relating to mental health, but COVID became a catalyst, and it fastened the problems and issues around mental health. Now, having said that, the fallout being the mental well-being, if we just see at the graph of the COVID as a pandemic, which has affected us physically, is going down. But as it is going down, we can see there's a surge in the crest of the peak, and it's like heightening up, like day in, day out, in terms of the pandemic around the mental well-being. We need to understand that this is a grave matter, and we need to take care of that. We did some studies around emotional intelligence, and I'll just give you a crisp definition of what exactly emotional intelligence is. It's the ability to understand and manage your emotions and others' emotions, And if we see at the data from 2019, 2021, and 2022, this present year, we see that there is a drop in the scores which we're getting from emotional intelligence. And having said that, there is an increase in depression and anxiety. Now, having said that, how is a brain working? And because this data is across all the ages, irrespective of the geographical location, your occupation, or gender for that matter. So it's impacting the similar way the COVID impacted us. But the problem is it's invisible and we can't see it. So we think that so our mind is in a confusion that what's happening with us, but we are not able to realize that this fallout has grave impact on our body, physically, emotionally, because if you're not aligned emotionally, your decisions, your personal and professional life, everything gets affected. So as a human civilization, we are being impacted in a very great way, which we can't see. Now, let me make you understand that what exactly was happening with the brain while the whole process was happening in the midst of COVID. So there was a lot of readjustment to the normality. Now, what is normality? The norms which we create as in society, so going to colleges, schools, or offices, then coming back home, this was something called as normal life. And then we readjusted ourselves to another kind of life where everything got mixed up and we were staying at home. And it took a toll for our brain to take those inputs and readjust ourselves. And this is called as the psychological elasticity of the brain, trying to go to a situation, take the stress, and still be not impacted by it. So our brain tried a lot, our mind tried a lot. And having said that, if you look at the time of pandemic, there were issues like, problems related to finances, your jobs, your health, loss of loved ones. And then post-pandemic, if you look into it, its basic issue is fear of uncertainty, fear of unknown. And I have been counseling so many people and taking primary responses, whether they are students or they're working professional. And one of the biggest reasons they are getting impacted is like fear of unknown, that what's coming next in their life. Now, having said that, let's talk about the school and colleges. The students who were the first years or the sophomores were never the first years or the sophomore in their schools because they never got a chance to be there. So right now they're graduated or they're in the final year. If you talk about the offices, the people who got into new work projects or new company, and even if they're working on the same project and same company, the sense of belonging wasn't there. And if you talk about the Maslow basic hierarchy theory, you need to have a safe space, which is being created by the sense of belonging wherever you are. So how does the brain work? So brain creates these labeling of the spaces, people, things, actions, and experiences, and it keep it to itself, and it evolves and condition it, regular basis. Now imagine when so-called normality was we were going out and going for our offices or college, and then you come back home and you feel a sense of being safe in your pajamas, you're sitting in your bed, and that feeling of being safe was different than being sitting on the chair in the office or being in the school or college, right? Now, what happened at the time of pandemic? Everything got mixed up. And Adam Grant there is a organizational psychologist named Adam Grant. He talks about this spacing of the mind. And we actually mixed up everything. So if you see what we did, that we were in the same room, eating, sleeping, watching Netflix maybe, driving our meetings, maybe having social connections with people. So all kind of anxiety levels were happening at the same space. And then in the night, you're sleeping at the same space. Now, what happened was that your mind was confused. It wasn't able to label that place in a different way. And there was constant anxiety because you were at the same space for different activities. Because of this, the brain was not able to create that labeling, and it got confused for a very long run, even if you were with your family, trust me. So it was very important for you to have one room where you're working, the other room where you're actually sleeping. But in some of the cases, it wasn't possible. Just take an example of students living in hostels, right? Now, let me talk about something called collective intelligence. This is something which we have worked on for a very long time. And I have worked with Dr. Sternberg. He's a father of intelligence, and we worked on adaptive intelligence. But I will not talk about that. I will talk about the collective intelligence. So the beauty behind that is that human brain, or as human itself, is a social animal, right? We're supposed to work together. So I gave some tasks to some of the participants, and when they're doing a task like in a team, they're more creative, they're more constructive, and they're getting that social integration, which is helping them to have some validations in their life. Having said that, they know their roles in a team. They understand, oh, this is my value when I am able to contribute to this particular project. And directly or indirectly, that helps them to validate what they are and how they are. I have been counseling many of the working professionals right now, and one of the main reasons they were facing was that we are very Diksha, we are very social. We were social, but now we get intimidated by any social setup, and I don't understand why it's happening. So how I explained that to them was, that you have a limbic system, which is an emotional part of the brain, where you have amygdala, which is a part in the brain which gives you the feeling of anger or fear. And when you talk about fear, it comes with the feeling of something unknown, right? So now, because your brain was getting so many inputs of being yourself, and then out of a sudden, like after a year, you came out and you're like in a social setup, even when you wanted to do that, you were having that anxiety just because your brain was not able to adjust to it. Again, the readjustment to the normality was still in the process. So mind had to take so many inputs within the past 2 to 3 years. And it was every time it was trying to adjust itself to the new norm and new norm. And that's why it was getting so anxious every time when something was happening. Let me talk about something where the mental health has become a taboo. And in most of the cases, because this all which I've discussed right now are like, repercussions of how your mind is working. And we need to acknowledge it, right? The problem is, if anybody's coming to me and talking about the mental health issues, even when we are so aware, there's so many initiatives from WHO to different organizations and different universities, and even at the level of corporates, which are trying to give awareness about mental well-being, I think there is a huge gap, and that gap has to be catered. One of the biggest thing is that it is considered as a taboo even now. So if you have a heart problem, okay, you can go to the doctor because you are not feeling good. But if you have a problem related to your mind and your brain, oh, this person must be mad, he's crazy. So these taboos and these labels which are given to this are wrong. And we need to understand that how we're respecting heart as an organ of the body, we have to respect the brain as an organ of the body. And we need to come out of these social stigmas. Having said that, because this is becoming still a difficult problem, people are not able to reach to the right kind of medical approach. They get into the fallouts which are very serious, and they're not able to handle their own behavior. The only problem here is because when you talk about mental health, it has a repercussion on your behavior, and your behavior is related to the social status, right? And the moment anything is related to social status, it becomes a taboo if it's not in a particular way, or it doesn't have a particular protocol to go for. Having said that, when people are not able to come out and talk about it, what's happening? The problems which they were able to handle by themselves, like financial issues, health issues, or maybe relationship problems, to whatnot, which they were able to handle with the same intensity prior to the COVID, they're not able to do now. And they are scared because the problems are same, but they don't know how to handle it. They're lost, they're numb, they don't feel anything. And these are the words which I'm getting from everywhere. And this is the reason that we need to solve it very systematically. So I have 2 cents for every listener who is trying to understand about the mental well-being. Let's take 3 step approach. So the first approach is acknowledge it. that we are in the midst of a pandemic, which is psychological. It has not yet ended. COVID must have ended, which is a problem which caused physically, but mentally, we are still there. We are stuck there. So first, acknowledge that. Secondly, that we have to cater to our health problems. So the way, as I already mentioned, if it's your heart, respect it. If it's your mind and your brain, respect it. It's an anatomy of the brain. So everything is a chemical reaction which is happening in you, which is not in your hand. So you need to understand that there is a scientific approach to handle the situation. Third, which is the most important thing, don't be scared of the taboos which are happening right now, because they are the norms which is happening at present, but they will change with the time, and we are supposed to change it. We're supposed to make sure that this is not a taboo, and it's okay to talk about it. It's okay to go out and talk to doctors who can give you medical advice, and you can talk to your friends if you don't want to go to a doctor in the primary stage, but you need to cater to it. And there is no shame and no problem in telling that you are going through something. And if somebody's saying to you, oh, it's okay, it's going to go away, please don't talk to that person. Go to a person who can actually understand what's happening with you. So my take is that, or with my research and experience, that at present, the pandemic is not yet over psychologically. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doctor, with regards to your citations. I mean, like the actual simplification of the actual issue. Mental health is really a big deal, especially like when the length of the actual pandemic was long enough to create the actual problem in our minds and creates the gap, especially in terms of communication. Like so I'm still an undergraduate, and I've seen fellows that definitely is just not very communicating, like the communicative in terms of like reaching out to their fellows as well. Yeah, also in terms of like asking help, even if it's just like um maybe handing over something or asking like maybe for a pencil or a paper or something like that. Like the gap is really there because they fear something, but like some fear are instilled in their mind. So that's just my opinion and my point of view, what I have observed so far. But yeah, the actual tips and techniques you have provided definitely will help, but there are really some who are really reluctant still because they are still too afraid to do so.
Yes.
But anyhow, it's a great topic, and we would like to open the question and answer to our panel and also our attendees. So please feel free to put it in chat or Q&A, or you can just open your mic or raise your hand so we can acknowledge. And then we have Srini, which is the mastermind of the actual initiative. So Srini Tanta is the CEO of Cogent, who is doing the initiative for the Let Us Talk It. And he said, "Thank you, Dr. Diksha, for wonderful for sharing of the relevant info."
Thank you, Srini. Thank you so much for having me here. It means a lot. So I just want to be an advocate of, creating this awareness, and this is a beautiful platform, a very efficient platform which you have created with like really due diligence. It has to be short and crisp. So kudos to the whole team. Thank you so much, Srini.
And thank you. We acknowledge the same. Thank you very much.
All right. So yeah, from our panel, we have enough time actually to raise your questions in terms of the emotional intelligence and with regards to the topic. Like, how have you felt after you were like everything is open again after you've been caged due to the pandemic?
Okay, so thank you so much, Anthony, for the question. I think I resonate with all the ideas which you just mentioned just before, just like after end of my talk. If I talk about myself, even I'll say that, I have done research on emotional intelligence. I will never be able to say that I know everything about emotions because it is so subjective. This happened with me also. I'm a very social person, but when the pandemic was over and I was just going out for conferences, I was going out and I was talking to people. But then I was like somewhere down the line, I need to go back home. And I was not able to understand this trait because I was never like this. I saw a huge shift. It was a topsy-turvy, in my opinion, for myself, that, Diksha, there's something wrong with me. And then I had to think about that, why I am acting like this, keeping myself and observing from the, outside. Okay, Diksha is, have to observe Diksha, what she's doing. I was able to do that, but sometimes you are not able to answer the questions which you're feeling. Having said that, as I already mentioned to you, Anthony, I have like a very close, I'm really close to students who are anywhere around the world, and I think they were impacted in a very drastic way. The sense of belonging was gone, and they had imposter syndrome, especially the students who were like in like Cornell or Yale, or maybe like in India, there's like in IIT, I'm like alum from there, the students over there, because they never got a chance to be inside the campus, but they are scared because they are not still able to acknowledge their own accolades. They're scared to build a community around. They're scared to what they're doing. But having said that, there's always like pros and cons, this law of averages. So how I see is like that. Specifically the Z generation, okay, this generation just after us, they have got this beautiful idea of adapting themselves to, what's coming next. So even you, Anthony, you and everyone who is just in the college right now, kudos to you guys, because you were able to adapt like this. I know there have been a lot of problems, you're going through a lot of issues, but what you learned psychologically of managing yourself and coming out of any kind of issues, which are external issues, which are not in your hand, you have beautifully adapted on a social setup, which was not the case with us, So we don't know how we would have done that if we were of your age. And the way your mind have, conditioned, it'll always help you out in the coming time. But we are still very sorry that you lost that time of being in the campus and, collating and, having that collective intelligence together. Definitely. So there's always like a pro and a con. Other than that, working professionals, they can always gain something back, but the impact is there. And even the impact to the households, families where women are staying in home, they were impacted in a huge way. And how physical body is being impacted through emotions is another way of understanding it. So I had one TEDx talk where I talked about, so it's just not your mental health is going to impact just your emotions, but your whole body gets impacted. I'll just give an example here. The women in their mid-40s, they go through a lot of issues of acidity. It's a very simple issue which happens in your stomach, but the stomach has a lot many, neural connectivity. And when you get like anxious and they're scared, you get that acidity. So there are physical implications to this emotional turbulence. So we need to respect that. From heart rates to the heartbeats, to your blood circulations, everything gets impacted, even your breathing active, everything gets impacted. So it's a serious issue. It's just not happening somewhere here. It's the whole body is contributing to what you're feeling. So that's why it's a very serious issue and we need to cater to it. It's just that we can't see it. It doesn't mean it's not there. So that is the reason we need to advocate it more and more, because it's dangerous as we cannot see it. Every face is smiling, but there's a story behind that. And we need to be kind to people and try to help them out and to make sure that they reach the right kind of help, even if you're not able to help. So that's very important. That's the duty of every human. If you have somebody who is going through something, you can't help, it's okay. Then try to create a path for that person to reach to the right kind of help. And that will always help the other person. And that's why my podcasts are about that. I get a lot of reviews, that we watched your podcast and, okay, now I'm thinking to go to a therapist, or maybe I'm going to do this, which will help me. So you never know, this particular let us talk it may help so many people, like it may save so many lives. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Really, definitely. So that's a like great insight you have shared. So yeah, mostly, and it's really on the campuses as per Satya here under the Q&A. He said in his opinion, major impact was on kids as the gap was huge for social gatherings for long duration. So they are left alone and they are very shy to gel with others as a result of it. So yeah, that's true, and definitely agreed with that. Like for me, when it started, like the barrier was very big, though it appears to be small. And what it is the actual mask everyone wears. You
Mhm.
cannot see if you can easily approach them or not. Like it's really hard, you know.
Uh,
And like if you just
yeah.
meet them like smiling and all that, so it's easy for you to talk.
I know the power of physical presence is so important. And as you mentioned about children, there's a difference between alone and lonely. It's very important to understand that.
Yeah.
You're alone, then that's a dangerous thing. And like, that you can be alone, but you can be happy. But then it can turn into something dangerous when you feel lonely. So yeah, it's important.
Perfect. That's true. All right. So thank you so much for the exchange of insights and opinions, definitely. So and I guess we have everything from that with our attendees and panelists. So yeah, we just got around the exact time. So
Thanks a
yeah,
lot,
we appreciate
Dr. Teacher. It was
Yeah.
really informative. And yeah, a lot of us got into a comfort zone saying that pandemic is gone. But yeah, your topic really makes us think what should we do next, or we shouldn't be really getting into that comfort zone. But thanks for doing this.
Thank you, Ravi, for acknowledging that.
All
Thank you.
right. Thank you so
Thank
much. And Dr. Sharma. And for now, so we are not done yet, definitely. So let me actually share with you as well for the second speaker. The actual information that she's about to deliver will be I'm sorry. Yes. Okay, I thought someone was talking, but definitely, yeah. So the actual topic is what got you here won't get you there. So such a great question. I mean statement for me. So moving from learning ability to learning agility. So about knowing what to do when you don't know what to do. So when you can be comfortable being uncomfortable. So such a great introduction for a particular topic, and this will be delivered by Rajul Castilla. She's a corporate trainer and a career counselor, and she is a freelance corporate trainer and a facilitator at a career coach and certified career counselor. So she has recently completed her post graduation in training and development. So during the last 8 years in this field, she has had the opportunity to guide, train, and coach more than 6,000 students or professionals through soft skills, leadership development, and campus corporate training. So these people could have been successful in different ways that they could have chosen, definitely. And it's thanks to Rajul. But without further ado, let's give the actual opportunity to deliver the topic. So please take over, Rajul.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Phil. Thank you so much for the lovely introduction, as well as thank you so much for this great initiative. Let's Talk It is an absolutely amazing initiative to address a lot of issues which need to be addressed but are not being addressed. So yes, I think really we need to congratulate you, the entire team of Cogent and Let's Talk It for this wonderful initiative. And thank you so much, Dr. Diksha Sharma, for giving a great start to the session. It was, I can say, absolutely enlightening to hear what you spoke, and it gave us a lot of insights. And I think probably it gave us a feeling that we've all been, I think, bottling up a lot of emotions post the pandemic. But now I think it's time to address them. It's time to recognize them. And as you said, time to acknowledge them. And if yes, if required, yes, one should seek help. So thank you so much for that and for the wonderful start that you've given to the session. So now going directly to the topic that Phil introduced, that what got you here is not going to get you there. So without further ado, let me just share the screen and take it from there. So Phil, just please let me know whenever you are able to see my screen, if my screen is visible.
It is visible now?
It is? Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Phil. Yes, so I think this picture says a lot about the topic that what got you here won't get you there. For the ones who probably not read this book, it is a book by Marshall Goldsmith, and it speaks about how one can go from being successful to more successful. So yes, all of us are masters of our trade. All of us are successful in the fields that we are in. But as you see, if you see this picture, you can see that there are two people at the bottom of the hill and they have come rowing. Now they need to reach the peak. They need to reach the top of the hill. So what got them here? Is it going to get them there? That is the question that we're going to be addressing today. That what got you here is not going to get you there. Probably you will have to think of something different, adapt to different things, think of better ways, or a lot of different things which we will be covering in the entire session in the next 15-20 minutes that I have here. And yes, after that, we would be open for question and answers. So before we delve a little deeper into this topic, I just have a few reflection questions for all of you. These are questions which I do not require an answer. Okay, these are questions only for you to think and reflect upon it. Okay, so each question would have answers like never, never, okay? Or maybe you might say that, okay, sometimes I feel this, often or always. I'm again telling you these questions, I will not be asking you these questions. These are just self-reflection questions where I just want you all to just pause for some time and think about these questions. So I'll just be reading the questions. It's just for you all to reflect. So the first question here is, I regularly take time to reflect on my past success and setbacks. So do you take a pause? Do you sit back and ever reflect that how your life has been going? If there's been a success, do I think, how is it that I reached here? Or if there's been a setback, do I think that, okay, this is what has happened. How am I dealing it? What am I feeling physically? What am I feeling emotionally, mentally? What is it that I would want to do next? So just take a second to think about it. I regularly take time to reflect on my past success and setbacks. The next question for you is, I deliberately apply lessons learned from my past experiences to my future challenges. So do you take time out to apply the lessons that you have learned earlier through your past experiences, maybe good or bad, that's a different thing altogether. But do I try to apply consciously, deliberately to my future challenges? The third question, I take time to learn from the people with whom I work. Do we actually think that, okay, I have a colleague, I have some people who are probably better than me in something, and I might benefit if I go to that person and try to learn from that person? Do I try to do that? I do the minimum required to get through my work as quickly as possible. Am I looking just to finish my job and go home? Am I living my life just like, if I have to give an example of a conveyor belt that we see in the airport, that I'm just moving from one task to another, from one day to another, from one task to another? Just reflect. And the last question I have for you is, I stay in my comfort zone and avoid new, challenging, or uncertain situations. Am I happy with the way things are? Do I try to avoid when something unexpected comes my way, or there's something challenging, something which is out of my comfort zone? Do I try to adapt to it, or do I like staying in my comfort zone? I think Ravi just some time back mentioned that you brought us out of the comfort zone, Dr. Diksha. So again, just a point to reflect that usually, how is it that I tackle such a situation? So I guess all of you now, all of you watching and attending this webinar or zipinar, if I could say, that you have just taken out some time and reflected on these questions. This is just a food for thought that are we doing this? Are we deliberately taking a pause and reflecting on such things? Now moving on to my next slide, here I would request a little bit of engagement from all of you. I would want if you all could use the chat box or unmute yourself. And I will be showing you on your screen 9 pictures. I would like to know from all of you that which picture amongst all the 9 of them relates the most to you when I speak about learning. It could be that more than one pictures appeal to you. That's perfectly fine. Just unmute yourself or use the chat box and just let me know that which picture relates the most to you when you think about the word learning.
Hi, Raju. Amazing
Yes.
presentation. So for me, it will be 3, 5, and 6.
3, 5, and 6. May I just know what is your thought process behind that, Dr. Deeksha?
For me, I think learning happens when you read a book, it's all right, but you need to have a perspective of that. And when you have people where you can have a lot of conversation around it, you learn a very different perspective which you never thought of.
Absolutely.
The 5th one is learn and unlearn, because it's very important to unlearn things. And at this stage of my life also, I'm learning a lot of things and relearning. So it's a beautiful one. The 5th is amazing.
Great.
Yeah, and the 6th is like the VUCA concept. So I totally abide by that. So I think for me, it'll be these 3.
Great, great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Deeksha, for your insights. Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so
Anyone
much.
else?
Yes. For me, I think it's 1. So it's
Okay.
it kind of like, so it appears to be bursting like that, but for me it appears like there is a barrier for me in terms of the learning, and then I try to identify what that barrier is so I can break it instead of like skipping it or like going over that actual barrier. So I tend to break it so it stays like it stays open, so I can continue like grasping the learning.
Great, great. Great perspective, Phil. I really like the way you looked at it. Super. Thank you so much. Thank you. Anyone else who would like to share? I think
Yeah,
I
we
see.
have. Yeah, Srini chose 5.
Okay, Srini chose 5. Okay, learn, unlearn, and relearn. Okay, I think that's an absolute essential thing when it comes to learning. To have the ability to unlearn so many things which probably have been fed into us, maybe since our childhood, based on our experiences, based on many things. And yes, it becomes very important at times to unlearn things and relearn them. Great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Srini. Do we have anyone else?
We have next on chat, Ravi.
Okay.
He said 1, 8, and trying 5.
5. Oh, Ravi, could I please hear from you, if you don't mind, that why did you choose 1, 8?
Yeah, 1, I think, is more of my personality. It's, I've
Okay.
always been an odd man out, trying to do things differently and, making that pathway, like the image shows.
Right.
8, yeah, I always hunt for the next challenge. I always have, what's next policy. I'll always go behind that. I'm a Taurian, so I'm like bullheaded. I need one, next target to go after. So that's 8. 5, yes. I mean, trying to do that. I know this is very important, but yeah, in the
Right.
process of I understand that it's really important. And VUCA is something which is new. I think in one of the sessions earlier, that's the first time I came across VUCA. I think, being in corporate managing teams, I think that is one thing which would help everybody here.
Great, great. Thank you so much for sharing your insights. So
Most
yes, thank you so much everyone for sharing your insights. Got to hear a lot of different perspectives. Each one of you had a different perspective when it came to learning. Phil and Ravi had a perspective on the first one, few had on the fifth one, sixth, eighth. So I think learning is something which all of us are continuously doing on a daily basis. We are learning. As we are learning, if I have to tell you the definition of learning, learning is supposed to be a comparatively, relatively permanent change that happens due to the experiences that we have. So each and every day we are having learning from the new experiences that we're having. We're learning new skills. We're learning to adapt to the different kind of technologies, the different kind of world that is around us. So learning is something I think all of us will agree that we're all lifelong learners. That's something which we will keep doing on a continuous basis. As Ravi said, that we're all looking for the next challenge that could come our way. And considering VUCA, as Dr. Diksha rightly said, that VUCA is something which I think this is post-pandemic and pandemic both together. It has been that the importance of the term VUCA, which was coined during the Iraq war by the US military. This was a word, this was a term that was coined way back then. But the actual significance of VUCA, when we say V is for volatility, U is for uncertainty, C is for a complexity, and A is for ambiguity. So the VUCA world that we are living in makes learning, unlearning, and relearning absolutely essential. And Ravi, you rightly said, I think all of us are in the process of learning, unlearning, and relearning. None of us can say that we've mastered it. So it's all of us are doing that on a daily basis, and which is not easy because things are hardwired into our brain. So this is not easy. So over the next slide, just next 2-3 minutes, what I will be saying is we're going to be delving a little deeper into the concept of learning. That how is it that all of us have reached where we are, and why is it that unlearning or relearning is difficult? So if all of us have two states of minds, one is our conscious mind and the other is our unconscious mind or our subconscious mind.
Abhay Singh.
Can I please request you? Yes, thank you. So we have a conscious mind and an unconscious mind. Our conscious mind is the one who is taking our logical decisions. The reasoning is all being done by our conscious mind. But the unconscious mind is responsible for the things that we do unintentionally or involuntarily. The things that happen is usually that something which is running at the back of our mind but still hasn't come to the forefront. So first, if I just take a simple example, most of us, and I'm sure all of us here drive. If I just have to look at the learning journey that happened when we learned to drive, this entire quadrants, these quadrants will become much clearer. So initially, say when we were maybe 12, 13, our parents would drive, or maybe our older siblings would drive. But at that point in time, we didn't know or we didn't understand the usefulness or the necessity to learn driving. So at that stage, we were at something known as unconscious incompetence. Unconscious, why? Because we were unaware of that skill, not unaware of the skill, but unaware of the basic usefulness of that skill. And we were incompetent in that because we lacked proficiency. We didn't know how to do that. But say when we reached say 17, 18, when we really started feeling the need to drive, we reached the second quadrant, which is conscious incompetence. So here what happened, that we were aware of the skill, we were aware of the usefulness of the skill. We realized that it's important for us to learn. So now we started making an attempt to learn. So here we were at a stage where we were aware of the skill, but we weren't yet proficient. We were trying to learn the ropes of the trade. Slowly, say you started learning how to drive. Slowly, say in 2-3 months, you reach the stage of conscious competence. Here, what happened here was now we know how is it that we're supposed to change gears. We know how to navigate through the traffic. We know the rules. We are at a stage, but where we are very conscious about everything we're doing. We know the skill, but we have not yet mastered it. We can use it with a little bit of effort, or maybe a lot of effort, depending on the skill that we're talking about. And slowly, okay, maybe say a year down the line, okay, or maybe at this point in time where we've been driving for so many years, we have reached a stage of unconscious competence where performing the skill becomes automatic. Like the back of the hand, we can drive, okay? We have reached a stage where we can multitask, okay? We are talking on the phone, we are speaking to the person that's sitting beside us, and we are driving, we're maneuvering through the traffic. This skill has become totally automatic. And the most important thing is we've reached a stage of competence, but using the unconscious mind. We do not have to apply our conscious mind. We have moved from unconscious incompetence to conscious unconscious competence. But this is the stage. Now, if you just apply, this was a simple example. Now, if you just apply all this to the daily learnings that we have, or apply this to the jobs that you all are doing, jobs that we are all doing, when we reach this stage of unconscious competence, this is the stage where complacency sets in. This is the stage where we reach a stage of comfort zone, where we are very comfortable the way things are. We are at a stage where we are not trying to get out of this comfort zone that we've created around us. We are happy with the way things are going. We are leading a stable life. So I can comfortably say we are stably able. We are able to do the things that are expected out of us. We're doing things that we are supposed to do. We're doing our job. We have a stable life. So we are stably able. But the question here arises that is it enough to have learning ability? Or going back to the picture, the first image that you saw, that if I'm here and I want to reach here, will learning ability alone suffice? Do I need to go beyond that? Do I need to become learning agile? Because my friends, where learning ability stops, learning agility starts. Because learning ability is where we've learned the ropes of the trades, okay? Learning ability deals with your, I can say, intelligence quotient, your IQ, where you've developed a skill. But to go beyond that, to bridge this gap, what is required is learning agility, which deals with your behavioral skills, which deals with your EQ, your emotional quotient, your social quotient. So where ability ends, agility starts. Ability will take you to a certain point. You have reached a certain stage in your career, a certain stage in your life. But if I wish to go beyond that, I need to become learning agile. Because the benefits of learning agility, this is just a small image that you're seeing, a small statistical data that you're seeing. But the benefits, the importance of learning agility is way more. So here I'm going to be introducing exactly what is learning agility. What is it that I need to do if I need to become learning agile? All of us in our daily basis, if we look at it on a day-to-day basis, we are all, we come across a lot of uncomfortable situations, a lot of situations where we are stuck, we reach a stage where we don't know what to do. Just if I randomly need to take an example, it could be some crisis situation that happens at work, some deadline gets preponed, there is a sudden meeting that has been called, so 2-3 meetings coming together. If in the home front, if I have to speak, maybe the nanny has called in sick, you have your work to see, you have your children to see, and post-pandemic, most of us are working at home, so we need to handle so many things simultaneously. At that point, we are in a situation where we don't know what to do. We are at a situation where we at times, not maybe all the time, but at times we reach a stage of maybe a panic situation is created where you start thinking that at this point, my mind has stopped working. I really don't know what to do. I really don't know whom to go to. That is where learning agility comes into the picture. Learning agility is the ability and the willingness to learn from your past experiences. At such times, our mind somewhere freezes. We are not able to think, look at the bigger picture, think beyond the situation that we are in. So at this point, having the ability, one, and second, having the willingness to learn from the past experiences, having that flexibility, and then being able to quickly apply it in the situation that you are in. That is where learning agility comes to picture, where I have the adaptability, the flexibility, the ability to apply what I have learned, probably some situation that happened in the past. Am I able to use that? Think quickly at that point in time. Think in an agile manner. If you look at the pictures which Ravi had chosen, I think picture number 8 for cheetah. When we speak about agility, agility is being swift, being fast. We all might take decisions in such situations, but are we able to do it quickly? That's the question. Or we could take a lot of time, or we could think quickly and do it at the appropriate time when it is to be done. So this is learning agility, where you find yourself in a new situation, you don't know what to do, but then you're able to figure out what to do. But probably now the question that must be arising in your mind is that how is it that I'm supposed to figure out? What is it that I'm supposed to do? So now I would like to take you to the research done by Dr. Burke of Columbia University. He brought about 9 dimensions of learning agility, where he spoke about 9 dimensions, which if we are able to inculcate in our day-to-day things. Again, as we've already seen that learn, unlearn, relearn is not something that happens very easily. This is something where we have to bring our conscious mind into the picture, make our conscious mind deliberately apply these things, which takes a lot of practice, which comes very, very gradually. But I think learning, the first stage of learning, if I have to say, is awareness. Once you have that awareness that probably these are the things that I need to inculcate, then we start bringing our conscious mind into the picture. We start deliberately trying to inculcate the things that we are talking about. So the first dimension, I'd like to introduce that to you. The first dimension that I'm speaking about is flexibility. Flexibility, all of us know what is flexibility. Flexibility is the ability to be open to a lot of options. Flexibility is the ability to be open to various options coming from various people. It is not that when I'm talking about past experiences, I'm speaking collectively. Because here we are not only speaking about agile individuals. Our ultimate aim is to be able to build agile organizations. So we need to have that flexibility that, okay, fine, this is something plan A, this is something that I thought would work in such so-and-so situation, but I guess it's not working. So how is it that I'm supposed to do it? Maybe do I need to bring other people into the picture? Do I need to seek help? This is something which is, I feel somewhere at times is lacking. That's why I said that learning ability deals with IQ. Learning people who have a very high level of IQ somewhere feel that we are capable enough, we don't need to seek help or support from others. That's where they lack a little when it comes to learning agility. Learning agility, that's the reason I said, speaks about your behavioral skills, where you're open, where you're okay to seek support or help, you're flexible. You don't have that my suggestion or my way of doing things is the right way of doing things. Probably I can seek help, I can seek support. I need to have that flexibility when, if I want to be a learning agile person. The second dimension that Dr. Burke spoke about is speed. I think I already mentioned that at such situations where we are speaking about being a learning agile person, speed plays a very, very important part when we speak about decision making. We are in a particular situation where we need to take a decision. There are two things that come into the picture. One is your decisiveness, where it speaks about how quickly or how soon you take your decision. And second is your decision quality. Am I able to take the right decision? But here the question arises. The first thing that I need to do is I need to start taking decisions quickly. Only then will the question come whether the decision quality is right or wrong, whether it's good or not. This brings me to the third dimension, which is experimenting. A person who is agile when it comes to learning is open to experimenting. It's not that I will just take things the way it is given. I should be able to challenge the status quo. I should be able to ask questions. The moment I start taking things, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do, fine, I do it. Here I'm not being learning agile, I'm just doing things which have been given to me. I need to start experimenting. I need to start taking risks. But here, when I speak about risks, I'm talking about calculated risk taking. Because if all of us, I think, are probably leading teams, we are team leaders, or probably will become one. When we bring about a culture where we tell our people that it's fine to experiment, it's fine to fail, it's fine to make mistakes, it's fine at times to take risks. Because until unless we don't experiment, until unless we don't take risks, how is it that we're going to be sure that next time whether it's going to work or not? For that, first I need to take a risk. So I need to inculcate that kind of culture in my organization where I say it's okay to make mistakes. We'll handle it together. We are there for each other. That takes me to the next dimension, which is collaborating. Collaborating is basically your people skills, your people agility. Till now, we were speaking somewhere about mental agility. We were speaking about change agility, that how is it that I need to handle myself when it comes to change? Mentally, how is it that I'm supposed to handle things? How I'm supposed to be agile? When I speak about collaborating speaks about people agility. We are all working in teams. We all need to have interpersonal skills. We should be able to speak up, share our views, brainstorm when it comes to issues, work in a culture of cooperation and coordination, where we're all there for each other and benefit with each other, grow along with each other, collaborate with each other, and create an environment where all of us are benefiting. Learning, as I think Dr. Diksha had put across very well in the slide, where she said that, say, I'm reading a book, until unless I don't meet people, when I don't collaborate with people, how is it that I come to know about their perspective? That someone, when I saw those 9 pictures, I had a certain mindset, certain perspective about each picture. But when I shared those pictures with all of you, I got so many new insights, so many new ways of looking at the same pictures which I had seen so many times. So until unless we don't collaborate, we don't meet people, our learning becomes very, very limited. And I think somewhere COVID brought all of us into a shell. We were all in that comfort zone, in that shell, and that social anxiety was there. Now is the time that things are coming back to normal, that now we become learning agile, we take the next step.
Arjo?
Yes, yes, Phil.
Yes. Yeah. I didn't want to stop or like go in the middle of the actual like explanation. It's really going great. Definitely. Thank you. But I'd like to let you know that in the next like maybe 10 minutes like
Yeah,
yeah there would be a business discussion with this Zoom. So if you could maybe like wrap up in like
yes,
next 3-5
yes,
minutes.
yes. This is the last slide. Phil will be wrapping up in another maximum 3-4 minutes.
Yeah, I'm really sorry for stopping you, but definitely I don't want to
No,
rush
no,
you,
sure,
but
sure. I can
please go
understand.
ahead.
Sure, sure. Thank you so much. Yes. So yes, taking this further, the next dimension is information gathering. We need to be up to date with the things that are going on around us, need to be able to gather inputs and information about each and everything through a lot of ways, through a lot of getting a lot of dimensions, lot of inputs from all the people who are around us. The next thing that we come to is next dimension is your learning mindset. I think everything deals with our mindset. How is it that we look at things? If I think that I want to learn, I want to become better, I want to seek challenges, I want to be the best version of myself, then I am going to go for it. But if I'm going to have a fixed mindset where I think what I've learned, what I've done is enough, then things don't move ahead. So having a learning mindset is extremely important. The next thing, which is, I think the next two things that we're going to be dealing with is basically your self-awareness. I had said that awareness is the beginning of learning, that we need to seek feedback, that how is it that we're functioning, how is our style of communicating, our leadership styles, our basically how is it that we're doing as a team leader, as a manager, as a subordinate, as anyone. We need to be continuously seeking feedback and trying to understand that what are our strengths, how is it that we can leverage our strengths, and how is it that we can improve our weaknesses, reflect upon them, and then obviously act upon them. So these 9 dimensions tell us a very important thing, that let's not strive to just survive, let's strive to thrive, because it is in this new world, in this VUCA world, it's not the big fish which eats the small fish, it's the fast fish which eats the slow fish. So here I would like to end my section. Thank you so much for patiently hearing me out. And I wish all of you to become learning agile and move ahead from learning ability to learning agility, and try to bridge the gap with all that we discussed today. Thank you so much. Thank you, Phil.
Thank you so much. That's a wonderful insight you've shared with personal opinions and definitely experience. So that's the actual aim of this webinar, to learn and hear those informations that we can definitely search online, but we chose to hear it from those who experience it firsthand. And that we thank you for doing the efforts, definitely of giving the knowledge and sharing it to us. And I'm sorry to have rushed you into
That's
closing
perfectly
definitely,
fine.
but I really appreciate. And yes, and for both of our speakers, if you have something to promote or share or let us know about, like anyone that might be hearing could further collaborate in the future, you can definitely share it here in this platform before we end. Yeah, Dr. Sharma, do you have something that you are working on right now that you'd like to promote?
Oh, thank you so much, Anthony. So yeah, right now I'm working on my book. That is the main thing, and which is recycle your emotions. And secondly, I'm working on a game. We're developing a game which is going to be showing the exact behavior patterns, how the decisions are being made in the real-time scenarios, because mostly we do the SDR, which are social desirable responses. So to focus on the real behavior, it's important to give them a real-time situation. I think gaming is a very exciting industry. So that's what we are doing at present. And yeah, my initiative is more towards advocating about mental well-being, and would love to collaborate more with Let Us Talk It if they are doing something on that, because this is very close to my heart. Other than my research and publications and my talks and my sessions, this is something which I want to work on. So thank you so much, Anthony, again, and thank you so much, Srini, for inviting me on this platform. This is amazing. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Dr. Sharma. And Raju, anything to
No,
promote?
yes, I would just like to take this opportunity to thank Let's Talk It, Srini, Phil, Ravi, Dr. Diksha. It was an amazing platform, an amazing initiative. Thank you so much.
Already. Okay, thank you so much, speakers, and for those who have attended and from which platform you've been using. We thank you for your efforts, and we hope to see you again next Wednesday for 2 new topics and 2 new wonderful speakers. So we are closing the session for today, and again, we thank you for your time, and we hope for you to keep safe always. Thank you so much, and bye for now.
Bye. Take care.